Nearly 16,000 people in the Western Cape have been impacted by the devastating floods. The province recorded 714 millimetres of rainfall over 3 consecutive days. More than 7,100 informal structures have been affected. Several non-profit and community-based organisations have been providing humanitarian relief to flood victims. Ali Sable from Gift of the Givers joins me now to give us more details from the ground. Ali, can you tell us what have you been experiencing on the ground? Which communities have needed the most help so far?
Thank you for having me. Total carnage at the moment. Many of the informal settlements in the area of the Overberg region, which covers your Theewaterskloof and your Cape Agulhas municipality, some of the communities are still cut off. No humanitarian aid has reached those areas for 5 days, and the word of the ground is even those who can afford to buy supplies, they cannot purchase anything as shops' shelves have run down. We have received requests from various communities in the outskirts of the Breede Rivier. Just 2 hours ago, I spoke to the Deputy Mayor of the Breede Rivier municipality, who informed me there's about 200 families on the other side of the valley, which is not accessible. And if it's possible, we could arrange any terms of support, whether it's by helicopter or any other means, just to reach these families, because they're quite concerned. These are farm workers, and 5 days, there's no communication with them. So currently on the ground, with roads not being accessible, Gift of the Givers teams were focusing on the informal settlements around the Western Cape. We are feeding plus minus 12,000 people every day. We are providing them with hot meals, blankets, toiletry, personal hygiene items. Just about this morning, we received confirmation the road to Botrivier was open. We immediately dispatched a team to Botrivier, and our teams are currently distributing food hampers, non-perishable food hampers, blankets, personal care hygiene packs, and toiletries to these people on that side. There's a farmer who managed to find a back road to Genadendal. Our teams is working with the Theewaterskloof municipality and disaster risk management teams, reaching them. And in the coming days, we are hoping to reach to the communities of the Dorans, Robertson, Montague, and Ashton, who's completely cut off for the rest of the week. And these numbers could rise in the coming few days. Once the roads become accessible and we get the proper figures from that side, this devastation caused many infrastructure damage to schools, clinics, and unfortunately to many informal settlements.
Apart from the kind of assistance you've described so far in terms of food, clothing, blankets, personal hygiene items and the like, what is the situation with water contamination in communities where infrastructure has been damaged and where people are cut off? Because that's incredibly concerning, where personal hygiene and the spread of something like cholera in the wake of a natural disaster like this.
Most definitely. 2 days ago, we were in the area of Sunflake, Makassar, where people concerned was that before they even accepted the food, they asked us, is there any possibility you could make a way for clean drinking water? Our water is contaminated as there is a spillage from the Kailicha and the Mitchell's Plain waterworks, and the sewage is running down the Eerste Rivier over our lands, making the water not drinkable. We immediately dispatched trucks of water to the community, and today they raised the concern that the chemicals from the water plant is going onto the grass and onto the land. They had to isolate the animals because the chemicals are quite dangerous for the animals. Today we delivered 400 bales of hay and lucerne for these farmers to feed their horses, their sheep, their goats. And we received a request for drinking water from the Cape Agulhas region, which covers Elim, Napier, Bredasdorp, as a concern that the water is contaminated. So besides the humanitarian needs of food and personal hygiene items, we are concentrating on those municipalities that have requested drinking water. And there's a community of Wellington and Paul who suffered a double tragedy. Last night there was 2 fires, one in Wellington, one in Paul. These people were in the wall, went back to their homes, and unfortunately, the structures burnt out this morning. 120 families, they are back in the wall now. So it's a very stressful moment for the communities living in informal settlements.
And of course, in addition to the already dire situation, looking at the amount of people impacted, one can only imagine that there are scores of people who have no access to chronic medication, to healthcare facilities, and we know that you always come to the rescue there as well. What kind of medical assistance and aid are you providing?
All credit due to the Western Cape Health Department, the Western Cape Disaster Risk Management teams, who have made all means necessary to deliver vital medication into the areas that are affected. I know there was a drop-off via helicopter yesterday into the Overberg region by AMS. That was a report given to us from the disaster risk management teams and from the health officials. We are working in partnership with the relevant authorities, and if there's any concern or any community-related concerns to us regarding health or regarding medication, we are in contact with the disaster risk management teams. If they can't reach out to the people, we will gladly assist, and we are prepared to assist by in terms of any medical intervention, which is in terms of medication. And we are working very closely with all the disaster risk management teams around the Western Cape. So far, fortunately, we expected the death toll to be much higher, but people, through the necessary awareness, could escape in time and were placed in community halls. We're visiting in these various community halls where the elderly and the women and young moms were located. They were checked up to see if there was any injuries or if they medication were in order, so they've been taken well care of in terms of medical assistance.
Once the mop-up operations and the immediate aid distribution is taken care of, in the next week or two or three, people are going to want to start rebuilding their homes, especially in informal settlements. And Gift of the Givers always does come on board as well with building materials and supplies. What is your preparedness looking like for that stage of the operation?
You know, this is going to be a national, this is a provincial disaster. There are thousands of homes that are, and communities that are affected. There's homes that's irreparable, that has to be thrown down as a major risk for families to stay in there. There's informal settlements that washed away. So this can lead into billions of rands. Here we need the intervention of the National Department of Human Settlements, the Provincial Department of Human Settlements, because people cannot go back into these homes. It pose a bigger risk. A wall can fall down, and some of them have no proper roofing. But besides that, a mother spoke to us yesterday. She was the sole breadwinner in a house of 6. She said what was painful for her was not losing her furniture or not losing any of her other items. The most painful thing for her was watching their only food they left to eat, that they budgeted to have left to eat, washing away in front of them. So as if these communities are being placed back at home, to prevent the humanitarian crisis in terms of hunger, we will be rolling out food hampers to all these communities affected, and which has been identified by the disaster risk management teams and our teams on the ground. So we are prepared for that. As I mentioned, as soon as the access road becomes open to reach these communities at the step, we are immediately flooding them with non-perishable disaster food hampers, specially designed for disasters. We have circulated a nutritional peanut butter paste that does not have to be refrigerated, that does not have to be heated up. It has all the essential nutritions to feed a hungry family. So there is other measures we have put in place to assist these communities.
Thank you so much for that update. We wish you all the strength for the work that you're doing. We know it's going to be a tough road ahead, probably at least another couple of weeks of assisting these communities. We wish you all the best. Thank you so much. That was Ali Sable from Gift of the Givers, giving us an update on the humanitarian relief they're providing to victims of the devastating floods in the Western Cape.